I just want to run quickly through the examples in 12.5, simplifying algebraic expressions by using index notation. What we should know from the notes is that things like 3 times 3 is 3 squared, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 would be 3 to the power of 4. We also know that if you have a times a, that gives you a squared, or a times a times a, that would give you a cubed. So what we can do is we can combine those two together. So if we have 3a times 2a, if we work with the numbers first of all, we'd have 3 times 2, which would give 6, and then a times a, which would give a squared. So we can combine those to give 6a squared. If we had something like, in the examples, 5t times 3t, what we do is we work with the numbers first of all. So 5 times 3 is 15, t times t is t squared, and then combine those two together and you get 15t squared. So that was the example number 1. Example number 2, we've got 3a times 2b. So if we do the numbers first of all, that's 3 times 2, which gives us 6. The letters are different, so we can't actually combine those in terms of like t squared or anything like that. So we can only write that as 6 times a times b, which works out to be 6ab. So we put them beside each other without the multiplication sign whenever they are different. The third example is 3 times 4r times 2r squared. So if we do the numbers, we've got 3 times 4 times 2. So 3 times 4 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24. And then what we've got is r times r squared. Now remember, r squared, that really means r times r. So if we write the r squared out as r times r, we've got r times r, and we should be familiar with that to be r cubed. So what we have is 24 times r cubed, which is 24 r cubed. Example 4, we've got s times 2t times 4s times t. If we do the numbers first of all, we've got 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. Then we've got s from the first one, and then the s with the 4. Then we've got t from the 2, and the t being the last term. We should know that s times s is s squared, and t times t is t squared. So what we have is 8 times s squared times t squared, which we write as 8s squared t squared, because we can't change the power whenever there are different letters. The last example, or the of this exercise, this 12.5, is the volume. And a volume of a cuboid, we should know, is length times breadth times height. And what we have is that the length is 7a, the breadth is a, and the height is 2a. Now I know the example maybe has the terms differently in the notes, but it doesn't really matter, the order doesn't matter. But we do it in the same way, so we've got the numbers, so that's 7 times 2 is 14. A times a times a is what we're left with. The 3 a's at the end, they're multiplying together and they give a cubed. So then they combine together to give 14a cubed.